Guys, what's up? We are back here with another video today, and today I'm doing my Michigan preview and prediction. So as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Help me reach 600 subscribers for the end of the summer. Like this video if you enjoy it, as always, and comment your thoughts and opinions down below. I'll respond to every single comment. When you see this, I will probably be gone for about another month, but when I get back in August from a farm in Tennessee, I will respond to every single one of your comments, so make sure you leave them down below. What do you think Michigan's record will be? What do you expect this season to be? Do you think it's another playoff berth? Do you think Michigan can beat Ohio State once again? Okay, so let's get started with today's video. So Michigan is in an interesting spot here. Michigan has a lot of different factors going on, from the quarterbacks to the defense and the offense, as you kind of enter into a big momentum year with Jim Harbaugh. And that year starts with Colorado State at home. I think that this is a win. You do have Jay Norvell, the former Nevada head coach, taking the Colorado State job. I still don't really understand the reasoning for that, but point still stands. I think that Colorado State is a lot worse than Michigan, so I have a win there for the Wolverines. Then you have a home game against the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. This is another win. I don't see any problems with Hawaii. They haven't been relevant since the year that they had the quarterback that threw like 7,000 yards. I can't think of his name, but he passed away, I think, last year. So this should be a win, no problems there. Then you have another home game. You start off the year with 3 cupcakes, as Michigan always does, because they're the cupcake in themselves. Sorry, Michigan fans. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I am going to take some jabs if you're watching this. But if you want to dislike the video, I don't care. Go right ahead if you dislike it. But hear me out while I finish this video, and then put whatever you want in the comments section, because I'd love to respond to your comments. You play UConn. You have another win there. There shouldn't be any issue. UConn lost their best player in Travis Jones. They really don't have much. Jim Mora takes over the program. I think it's a good hire. He's an experienced head coach. He has experience at a successful program in UCLA. So I like the hire, but I don't think it really means much. You have your homecoming game on September 24th against the Maryland Terrapins. I have this as a win here. You shouldn't have any problem beating them, but here's the thing I would like to say. I say you shouldn't have any problem. I take that back. Maryland is not going to be an easy opponent this year. Mike Loxley is doing a great job at Maryland. He got into the bowl game against Virginia Tech, absolutely destroyed them, wiped them off the map, played really well in that game. And I think that this is a big game for Maryland. It's a game at the big house, as Michigan, like I said earlier. They start off 4 straight home games at the big house, and I think that this is a big game for them. Maryland particularly, not really Michigan, but I think that this is a good spot to really determine how your season's going to go, and I think that Michigan should win this game, but don't be surprised if it is a closer matchup than most people think, just for the simple fact that Maryland is a better team than most people believe they are. So that is a win for them. Then they head to Iowa Hawkeye Stadium, and I have a loss here. I'm sorry, Michigan fans, but you guys have struggled so much at Iowa throughout the years. So I'm going to have this as a loss, though I could easily see Michigan being the more talented team and winning this game. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Michigan's the more talented team. But the problem I have with it is that Michigan's probably going to be ranked in the top 15. They've started off 4-0, probably have beaten the crap out of their first 4 opponents except for Maryland. So I think that it's a good place. The problem is it's at Iowa. Iowa plays really well at home, and they beat Michigan more often than they should. So everything kind of lines up, and it's not the same as last year. It's at the Big Ten championship game. I think that this Iowa team is a little bit better, and don't get me wrong, I expect Michigan to win this game because of the more talent, but the problem is that I think Iowa will win this game just for the sake of they've won most matchups at Iowa most of the time, and they beat Jim Harbaugh on a more consistent basis than anybody outside of Ohio State. Then you have a road game again at Indiana. No problem should be here. You did struggle against Indiana for the most part under the Jim Harbaugh era. You lost the game in 2020 when they played really well with Michael Penix and that team. But I don't think that you should struggle here at all. I think this should be a win. Then you have a big game here before you head on to your bye week and then play your rivals of Michigan State. You have another rival-ish game against Penn State, and I think that this is a big matchup. It's at the Big House. It's going to be probably a nighttime game, and I think that this is going to be the biggest matchup of the season so far. You're right now 5-1. You're heading into this game. You have a bye week afterwards. This is a really defining game, and with you going at 5-1, you can make the 6-1 going into the break. I think it could be important. So I think that Michigan has the edge, and I'm going to give you the reason, one big reason for this. I think the combination of Blake Corum and then the redshirt freshman Donovan Edwards, who I think is going to be a legit star this year, is going to be enough, though I don't know how much I trust Cade McNamara. He struggled a lot last year. He didn't play well against Washington, a bad Washington team, might I say. And a team that kind of lacks a lot of identity in itself. The coach punch a guy, gets fired. But the thing I think is that Jim Harbaugh is good enough to beat James Franklin at the Big House, which he's done on a pretty consistent basis. So I'm going to pick this, but if this game was at Happy Valley, I'm probably going to pick the Nifty Lions. So then you have your bye week, and then you head home, or you stay home to play the Michigan State Spartans, about to say the Wolverines. But I have this as a win again. I think that Mel Tucker is going to fall off a little bit this year. I think that, I hit my computer. I think that this is going to be a win. For the main reason being, I think that Mel Tucker is building a program, but generally the year after your great year that went for Notre Dame, that went for a lot of teams that generally you don't, outside of Clemson and Alabama and Notre Dame for the most part, and Oklahoma for the most part, you have the rise and then you tip off the year after. And I think Michigan is kind of in that boat where they're gonna fall down a little bit, but I think that they're better than Michigan State. And with this game being at home, I think that the revenge is going to be on the minds of every Michigan fan. So I think that they're going to be able to get the W there. Then they head to one of the most interesting matchups of the season. This is probably going to be a top 10 Michigan team heading into New Jersey to play the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. They're 7-1 going in this game. There's a lot building up in here, and I think you lose. Because look at last year, this playoff winning team, Michigan, beating Ohio State, winning the Big Ten, winning the Big Ten championship, and then all of a sudden, you play Rutgers really badly. Obviously, that was before, and maybe you improved throughout the season, you can say that. But I think Greg Schiano is onto something. I think he's building something at Rutgers the same way he always has every time he's been at Rutgers. So I think that this is going to be a win for the Scarlet Knights, and don't take this in the wrong way, but I think the Scarlet Knights are going to be able to get a win here, especially with it being on the road, being in a tough environment. I think that J.J. McCarthy and Cade McNamara, I don't know if they're up to this challenge quite yet. Then they head back home to play Nebraska, the Cornhuskers, and I think that loss that you took before is going to depress the Wolverines, and they're going to take another loss here against the Cornhuskers. Yes, this game is at home, and yes, it is at the Big House, coming off a probably upset loss against Rutgers. But I think that this Michigan team is going to have some more struggles than you think. I think they're going to have a lot more closer games. I think they should win most of their most of their non-conference games pretty easily at the beginning of the season. But when you get later on into the season, I could maybe see some upsets blooming there. So then you head to your last home game of the season against the Fighting Illini. I think that this game should be a win. I don't think you lose 3 in a row and then have to play Ohio State at Ohio State in the Horseshoe. But I think that this should be a win here. I think the Fighting Illini, I think Brett Bielema is bringing them back to a little bit of prominence, but the Illini aren't a great team with a lot of talent. But do watch out for them. I could see Illinois beating them if Nebraska wins or stuff like that. I could see some upsets brewing here for Michigan. team that I think is a little less talented than most people think it is, with losing both your edge rushers, losing Daxton Hill, losing a lot of pieces that you needed to get to the playoffs last year. Then you have Ohio State. I'm going to promise you, you guys are going to get killed in this game. I'm sorry. This seems to be a little bit depressing having you go 8-4 on the season, but don't mess with Ohio State in that sense. I think that with Ohio State losing that game last year at the Big House, they're going to come out for revenge. I think that it's going to be a tough game. If Michigan does win it, then Jim Harbaugh is in a very interesting position and probably heading into the playoffs, but I expect a beatdown coming from Ohio State. I know a lot of Michigan fans are going to be mad at me, so please leave your comments down in the comment section, and if you want to dislike the video, dislike it. I don't care. I'd just like to hear your explanation of why. So that wraps up today's video. Make sure you hit the 2 videos down below. Well, one will be a playlist, and hit the subscribe button up here. And as always, have a great day. Bye.